To help you get started using My Accounting Lab, just go to Google, type in My Accounting Lab, select that one, sign in, and use your credentials to sign in. And you should see this course, which you're registered in for the fall of 2016. When that opens up, notice on the left-hand side the navigation pane in the Pearson eText category. Go in there and then click on Complete Pearson eText. It'll take some time to open up, but if you have any trouble trying to open up this eText book, it may be because you have some sort of pop-up blocker in effect. So go through your settings and try to figure out how to enable pop-ups. Once you get into the book, you'll see that on the left-hand side, all the different chapters and main sections of the textbook are on the left-hand side in this navigation pane. If you want to, go ahead and just click on Chapter 1, and it'll take you right to the intro to Chapter 1, which talks about the Walt Disney Company. If you want to jump through to the other learning objectives, the left-hand side is an easy access tool for you to use. It will help sort of jump through to the main sections within the chapters, and these even expand further so you can go right to the other subtopics. Go back to My Accounting Lab and go down to Chapter Resources and go ahead and click on Chapter 1. Let's go ahead and click on this Do Chapter Homework. Now you see there's no homework assigned here, but you see there are other options down here. These are the default options in My Accounting Lab. They offer you sample tests and quizzes, and the study plan is exceptionally helpful. So go ahead and click on the sample tests and quizzes. If you scroll down here towards the bottom of this page, you see Chapter 1 Post-Test, Chapter 1 Pre-Test. These are available for you to go through and practice on your own. And I believe you can go through them as many times as you want. But the cool thing about this is that it kind of is like homework for you to practice what you're learning. So take some time and navigate through this and see how well you do. This is not going to in any way affect your grade. It's just purely practice to help you understand the material. Go ahead and close out of that. Go ahead and click Chapter 1 again to get back to sort of that main page for Chapter 1. The Take Chapter test will take you to that sample pre-post test. So let's go down to Chapter Study Plan. And then scroll down. You see that all the chapters here are presented, and it automatically opens up to Chapter 1 because that's the category we are in right now. And then if you click on any one of these learning objectives, it will take you to an area where you can actually practice different questions associated with that learning objective. So for instance, click on QC 1-1. And you see there are a variety of multiple choice questions that you can practice going through. Again, none of this will affect your grade. It's purely for practice. Now what these questions are the end of chapter questions or problems that you would see in your textbook. In fact, if you go back to your textbook and jump to page 33, which is the end of chapter summary area, and you'll see down here the quick check, i.e. the QC 1, chapter 1-1. Suppose you're starting a blah 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 blah. Go back to My Accounting Lab and click on QC 1-1 again. You see, suppose you are starting a medical data analytics firm. Same exact question, or should I say it's similar to what you would see at the end of the chapter. Now, while I have the textbook open, let's talk about how the chapter is structured. So the chapter starts off with an introduction, a spotlight into Walt Disney Company. And I encourage you all to read these introductions, but the real material starts in these learning objectives. So you see over here on the left-hand side where you have the number 1, explain why accounting is the language of business. This is one of the several learning objectives in the chapter. And when you think about a learning objective within a chapter, it's almost like a subchapter or a subtopic within the overall chapter. And these correspond to different questions you would see at the end of the chapter problems. So to give you an idea of why this is going to be useful for you, go ahead and say click on this evaluate business operations through the financial statements. This is learning objective 4, which is like subchapter 4 within chapter 1, or you can think of it as section 1.4 within the chapter. So if you're struggling with the content material within this particular subchapter, or if you're just wondering how I might test you on this particular material from the chapter, go back to My Accounting Lab and go ahead and click Chapter 1, click the Chapter Study Plan, and then scroll down to subsection 1.4, Evaluate Business Operations through the Financial Statements. And you see all the different types of questions that you can practice through to help you understand this material better. Some of these questions may be multiple choice. Some of these questions may be workout type problems or exercises that require a little bit more effort on your part, but it's all intended just to help you prepare yourself for the exam as well as understand the material better. If you go back to My Accounting Lab's main menu and you go down to Dynamic Study Modules, I think that this is a really valuable tool for you to learn. So even if you're not quite comfortable reading through the textbook and taking notes, and you want to actually get your hands on some problems, go to Dynamic Study Modules and click Access Dynamic Study Modules. And we'll open up a new tab in your browser. And you'll see right here that I've already started practicing a little bit with Chapter 1 materials. So let me go ahead and show you here by clicking on Chapter 2 what it looks like. You see they give an estimated time to work through the problems, about 42 minutes, whatever. Go ahead and click the Start button. And you can see they kind of set up this multiple choice scenario. All the following represent business transactions except, and you can click I don't know or take a guess and see what happens. So I'm just going to click this first one here and hit Submit. It says, yeah, I got it right. And then I go to the next question. And I'm not even going to read this question, but I'll just go ahead and click the first one again. And you see I got it wrong. So that tells me and it tells you that you need to go back and practice this a little bit more. Once you go through and try all the different questions, in this case there are a total of 22, this system will tell you where you need to focus on within the chapter. So practice playing with this. It's not going to hurt you. And if you have any trouble with it, just let me know. Again, go back to My Accounting Lab's main menu and click the study plan this time. Here you see you get some practice quizzes or quiz me and practice problems that you can work through to help you solidify your knowledge about the material in the textbook. Again, I recommend you go through and practice doing these things. That way you can test and see if you have a strong understanding about the types of questions I would ask you on a quiz or an exam, as well as just kind of gauge your overall understanding about the material itself. Also click on the assignments category. If I have any assignments such as a quiz, you will be able to see it within this area. I haven't assigned any quizzes yet, but if you want to know how to access your quizzes, go to your assignments and see which quizzes you have in store. Also, if you go back to the main menu, you'll see that there's this calendar up here. Usually you'll see when I've posted something and when it's due. So if you click on a little icon that looks like it's a quiz assignment, it will open up to that quiz. Now it's up to you if you really want the full breadth of tools that's available inside My Accounting Lab. Click on the Multimedia Library category on the navigation pane. Scroll down here and select, for instance, Chapter 1, the financial statements. These are all the different items that you can select to practice with to help you understand the material. So for instance, if you wanted flashcards, click that. If you wanted the PowerPoint slides, click that, etc., etc. And then click Find Now. And you see they have interactive flashcards, and you can go ahead, and there's the PowerPoint, of course, right there, which I've also provided for you up on Canvas. But those are, the ones on Canvas are better because they actually have my instructor notes in them. But go ahead for now and click on interactive flashcards, and let's see what happens. And let's go ahead and expand this. Go to the bottom where it says Let's Study, and select which chapter you want to practice, and go to the bottom where it says Study Now. And here are all the different glossary terms that are talked about in the chapter. If you want, you can go ahead and just say select all of them, and then go to the bottom where it says Study Now, or print them off. And the idea of corresponding flashcards is to be able to look at a word and define what it means. So define revenue as, if you will, the financial inflows that a company earns, and then go ahead and just click on it, and then it will say on the reverse side, if you will, an increase in retained earnings from delivery of goods or services to customers and clients. Okay, I'm not wrong necessarily, but let's just say I got it incorrect and click on it. We'll skip to the next card. A going concern assumption. Well, going concern is basically saying we expect the company to just keep on doing business in the foreseeable future. If I click on definition, it says holds that the entity will remain in operations for the foreseeable future. I think I'm good at this, so I'll just go ahead and say correct. Now, if you want to take a break or you want to stop, just go ahead and say done, and it will tell you roughly how well you did. Here's your kind of overall understanding about the definitions within the chapter. Go ahead and close this down, and just head on back to Course Home. This is just an introduction to my accounting lab. Again, if you want to use these resources, I strongly recommend that you definitely take the time to practice them. You don't want to wait until the week before the exam or any exam to actually go through and practice the use of flashcards or practice problems. You want to be doing it as you study. And if some of you, you just don't prefer to read the textbook, you rather just work on problems, I understand that as well, but just be aware that you're responsible for all the content material in the textbook.